Let's review absolute value. Remember that absolute value represents the distance a point is away from zero. Absolute value is always greater than or equal to zero. So in solving absolute value equations, what we want to do is isolate the absolute value. So the first thing we're going to do in this problem is subtract 7 from both sides. So that leaves us with the absolute value of 4x minus 7 equaling negative 9. Remember, absolute value is always greater than or equal to 0. So once you've isolated the absolute value, don't do before, only when it's isolated. If the answer is negative, then we have no solution because the absolute value is always greater than or equal to 0. Our next example. The absolute value of 4x plus 12 over 3 equals 4. So remember, we're going to have two answers because there's two values that are 4 units away from 0. So we start off by 4x plus 12 over 3 equals 4. And let's go ahead and solve that. So we're going to multiply both sides by the LCD, which is 3. So the 3's reduce, and that gives us 4x plus 12 equaling 12. And we're solving for x, so we're going to subtract 12 from both sides. So 4x equals 0, and we divide by 4. So our first solution is x equals 0. Next, we write the other possibility. So 4x plus 12 over 3 will equal negative 4, again, because negative 4 is 4 units away from 0 as well. So we'll multiply both sides by the LCD, which reduces. That gives us 4x plus 12 equaling negative 12. Subtract 12 from both sides. So 4x would equal negative 24, and we divide by 4. So x would equal negative 6 as our other answer. So our two answers, 0 and negative 6. Our next example, again, we want to isolate our absolute value. So we start by subtracting 6 from both sides. This would give us the absolute value of 4x plus 2 equaling 3. So since that's positive, we know we have two solutions. So there are two values that are 3 units away from 0. So one of those answers would be 4x plus 2 equals 3. And again, let's go ahead and solve this first. So this gives us 4x equaling 1, and we divide by 4. So x would equal 1/4. Now we have to solve 4x plus 2 equals negative 3. So we're going to subtract 2 from both sides. So 4x would equal negative 5, and divide both sides by 4. So x would equal negative 5/4. So our two solutions would be 1/4 and negative 5/4. Our last example, here we have two absolute values. So what we're going to do is, just as we did before, we're going to start by setting the first as 6x minus 2 equals x minus 3 and solve. So we're going to isolate first. So we're going to subtract x from both sides and add 2 to both sides. So 6x minus x is just 5x. Negative 2 plus 2 cancels out. X minus x cancels out. So 5x would equal negative 3 plus 2, which is negative 1. And we're going to divide both sides by 5. So our first solution would be x equals negative 1/5. Next, we're going to take the 6x minus 2 and set it equal to the opposite of the right-hand side. So the opposite of x is minus x. The opposite of minus 3 is positive 3. So again, isolate. So we're going to add x to both sides and add 2 to both sides. So 6x plus x is 7x. Negative 2 plus 2 reduces, as does negative x plus x. So 7x equals 5. And then we're going to divide both sides by 7. So x would equal 5/7 as our other solution.